Hi guys, and welcome to my first ever studio vlog. I'm going to be trying to attempt to do a heap of studio vlogs whilst I'm making for my markets and for my website. So I am just trying to get more content out to you and show you a different kind of side to my kind of process. I actually work full-time as a photographer and a photography trainer, but on the weekends this is what I do as a creative outlet. So I am on holidays currently, and I am prepping this week for an online shop that I'm currently working with, as well as my own website update. And in coming weeks I'm also doing a big stint of markets where it is a Friday, Saturday market and then a Sunday market, so 3 days straight of markets. So I'm just trying to get myself prepped for that with enough stock. So currently I'm just sitting here just cutting down some labels for my travelers notebooks. I print this on sticker paper through my printer and then just trim it down. I do have a silhouette, but I tend to find that just cutting it with a guillotine is quicker. And I name each of my travelers notebooks so that it's easier to put on my website. Now currently I don't have them on my website because I've just got so crazy busy with actually going to markets and stuff that I haven't actually been able to take them and put them on the website. This vlog is very all over the place because I was making lots of different elements for my niche for the shop and for the online website. So I'm currently pulling out all of my fleece and just going to chop them all down to make my reusable makeup wipes. So I had a whole heap of patterns of this fleece and I'm just going to use up all of it and cut it all so that when I feel like just making a couple of things and just sitting there and sewing, everything's cut ready for me, so I can just sit there and make a couple of sets. So typically I make 7 in the set, 1 for each day, and they have a coloured piece or a pattern piece and then a white or a grey side. So yeah, you can see here that I've cut a heap of fabric ready to go for these makeup wipes. And this is something that I haven't had on my website and I've only just recently introduced. Here you can see I'm just packaging up a heap of my stock for the GC Collective online shop. Normally we would do this in person, but this year we can't. So I'm packaging up some pencil rolls. You saw some leather journals as well as some little golden books. I've got the makeup wipes here, and I've also got some lanyards as well that are a new product to my shop. So you can see here I'm packaging them up in cello bags just for kind of keeping everything clean and making sure that they're shipped nicely. And in there is just a little tag that tells you how to wash them. But yeah, I'm just packaging this up into a tub. I've got to go drop it off to Jess and she's going to run the online shop for a couple of weeks. It is closed now. It was over the Christmas break, so unfortunately you can no longer shop there, but it was a really great initiative where a whole heap of Geelong creatives got together and we could put all of our products in one shop and they would all be sent out together. So the other thing I'm doing here is packaging up my lanyards. So I haven't actually sold these at a market yet, so I was trying to work out how to package them. And I felt like they did need to be packaged, otherwise they're just going to get tangled and all messy and dirty and stuff. So I've just got, again, a piece of brown card with just my logo and fabric lanyard written on it. Awesome, so the next day I'm making some more reusable makeup wipes ready to go. So I'm just going to smash out a bulk lot of these ready for the upcoming markets. I like to do things kind of methodically, so I will always kind of do 2 or 3 things at a time. So with these I normally sit there and just sew for a couple of hours, and then I'll sit at the couch and I'll watch some TV and just flip them inside out and cut the corners. So I kind of like doing things in batches. It's the same with my little golden books as well. I tend to do those in batches as well, so that I cut all the golden books down, I make all the spines again, I put all the book corners back on, And here you can see I'm actually pulling some little golden books from my massive collection for a new product that I'm going to put in my shop. So I currently have over 600 little golden books, and I'm just going through and I'm handpicking a couple that I feel like are going to work. I'm actually going to be making some spiral bound notebooks with just some blank paper in them. So I'm just picking a few kind of popular titles out of the collection and things that I think will sell. So I think I grabbed a Little Mermaid, a Pinocchio, Bambi. I think I had a Pokey Little Puppy in there as well. So I'm just kind of picking out like really stereotypical little golden books that everyone had as a child. And I think I start with about 20 and then see how I go from there. So this is a normal process for me to go through. I go through my books and kind of pick out things that I'm kind of gravitating to that particular day. So here you can see my industrial guillotine, and I am currently putting a stack of I think about 6 or 7 little golden books in the guillotine to chop off the spine to be able to bind it into a notebook. So I do this first and just chop the spine off first and just stack them all up, and then I'm going to go through and trim down the pages just slightly so that they're a little bit smaller than the covers. This is going to mean that I have a little bit of leeway with binding the pages, and then the pages are not going to like hang out of the cover. But as I said, I like doing things in batches, so you can see the massive stack there. So there's all my offcuts of my spines. And now I'm just going to make a template. So I keep all of the covers of my scrapbook paper to use as templates. I really like making templates for products that I make a lot of. So I'm just drawing out a template. I traced the cover and then I'm just coming in like a centimetre either side and just cutting that out with scissors, and I'll label it and I'll put it in a little folder to pull back out when I am actually going through and making more of these. It'll make my workflow a lot quicker. So back over to the guillotine, I'm trimming down all of the pages from inside the little golden books because I'm going to use them in the actual notebooks themselves. The whole purpose of the Boho Suitcase was to make sure that I could utilize as much of the products that I was buying as possible. So whether that's fabric or books or anything like that, if I buy it new, I want to use every last little scrap. Same with if I buy something from an op shop. I also want to make sure that I'm using every little part of that book to make sure that I'm cutting down on waste. So I'm just pulling out the pages now and stacking these up. This guillotine is the best thing that I've ever bought, but I also need to be careful because I have had a few injuries with sharp objects this year. So I've got some cut-proof gloves on just the hand that I'm using to put near the blade. But yeah, it is quite sharp and you can see it cuts through a lot of paper, so you just need to be careful when you're using it. But it's great. It's a great investment for anyone making books or journals. Alright, so now onto the plain paper. I'm just going to cut down a heap of reams of white paper to put in between the little golden book pages so that people can write in them or do drawings or anything like that. So this product I'm bringing in, I've had the Zada Bind-It-All for quite a while, and I do make wallpaper journals with that Zada Bind-It-All, but I had always kind of thought about doing little golden book notebooks as well. It's a little bit more useful, I guess, with the being able to write in it or draw in it, whereas my junk journals are a little bit more kind of niche. It's also a way quicker process for me to make these notebooks. I think I can make about 40 in an hour, so I can kind of get, if I cut all the pages and stuff and round all the corners and all of those sorts of things, it's a way quicker process to make these than it is to make my junk journals, because they kind of take maybe 3 or 4 days. So yeah, it was a more affordable kind of price point as well. And the other thing is too that that I can bring that price down obviously and get it at a cheaper kind of rate, because it doesn't cost me as much, and more accessible for people. And I can also utilize a heap more of the little golden books that I'm collecting up, because the collection is growing quite quickly. So this contraption here is a industrial corner rounder, which is something that is pretty new. And I round corners on pretty much all of my projects that I sell in my shop. So this was a really good investment. I can round all the corners for my travelers notebooks and these notebooks as well. And it just kind of gives all of the products a bit more of a finished look. You can also see there I am always watching YouTube or Disney Plus or whatever it might be. So I think I was actually watching Solar and Binging with Babish with their Thanksgiving special. So I was currently just working away and making some stuff. Let me know in the comments what you do whilst you're crafting. Do you watch YouTube videos? Or I also watch a lot of organization of craft room videos as well. So here I've got my Zutta Bind It All out. You can also use a cinch. I actually got a really good deal on this Zutta Bind It All. I bought it off Gumtree, which is like the Australian version of Craigslist, and I got it for I think $60 with shipping, so it was actually a really, really good deal. So again, as I said, I like to do things kind of methodically and like in order. So I'm currently stacking the pages in groups of 10, because I'm going to put 20 pages in between 2 pages of the little golden books to make it 100 pages total, or 112 pages total. So 100 blank pages and 12 little golden book pages. So I was stacking them in groups of 10 because that was a comfortable kind of number to get through the Bind It All, and then I could just not think whilst I was doing it, because when you're watching a video you might realize that you can't really concentrate that hard. So I was just trying to make it a little bit easier for myself. But yeah, and then I also cut a lot of the spiral coils ahead of time so that I could kind of work a bit quicker. But yeah, this was a really therapeutic process. I made another template for this so that I knew where the holes went. That's also a really important thing when you're doing something like this, is to do a test run. I actually did a test and I stuffed up my first one because I placed the holes in a weird spot and it kind of buckled. So always important to do a test of anything like this. So the other thing that I needed to do this weekend was to obviously update my website, because all of the listings going on the Geelong Collective website were going to be based off my listings on my website. So I needed to go through and photograph a bunch of stuff and update my website. So as I said, I am a photographer by trade. That's what I do. That's what I went to school to do. So I have a pretty impressive setup. I've got a studio light. The camera is out of shot currently. It is up on a C-stand so that I can do flat lays from a really high point. And I'm also tethering, which means that there's a cable from my camera into my laptop so that I can just push the button on my laptop and see it come up on my computer. If you would like a bit more of an idea of how I actually photograph my products, please let me know in the comments below and I can make a video for you and show you some tips and tricks on how to do it with natural light. But yeah, I have a lot of gear that I can utilize at home, so I do utilize that when I can. So typically I'll kind of photograph the cover of a little golden book journal, and then I'll show a few variations of the pages inside, just to kind of give the person a bit of an idea of what they might typically expect out of that journal. So I hadn't updated my website in about, I want to say 6 months. So I had a lot of products that I needed to get through. There is some things that I don't have on my website still that I do sell at markets, but I'm just kind of trying to get the more kind of niche things up there first, and then I'll work away at putting more stuff up. All right, so on to our notebooks that we made. So I'm photographing just the front cover and then a page with the story, and then just a blank page, just to kind of show the kind of things that you'll be expecting. And I'll explain more in the listing so that people kind of understand what it is that they're looking at here. So these are just typical product shots. They're just on white, lit, and just really kind of plain and simple. I also go through and photograph some stuff for social. So most of the time I then will use additional props. I will use like ceramics and different things from other small businesses. I normally use a color backdrop. So I've been getting more into brighter colors at the moment, which is kind of cool. So that's what you can see here. I'm going to do a couple of posts just about my shipping times for Christmas so that people know when to order. So I had a couple of Christmas journals that I had to photograph. So I grabbed out that. I grabbed out some linen. I grabbed out a whole box of some Christmas props that I've been collecting over the years, and just started placing things. So when you do something like this, you want to style to camera and you want to put in one thing at a time so that you can kind of move things around as you go. You don't want to just plonk everything in and then just start moving things from there. So I just individually move the props around until I'm happy with what I'm doing. And this will become a social media post that I'll post up for, advertising for my Christmas markets, my Christmas journals, all of those sorts of things. So a lot of the time I'll try and post once a day and try and get those things up. The other thing that I've been making a lot of at the moment, and I haven't actually taken these to a market yet, is these pencil rolls. So I've cut a lot of fabric ready to go. As I said, I like to cut things ready for me to just start sewing, because I kind of sometimes I'm in a mood to cut fabric, or I'm in a mood to sew. So I kind of just do things in a batch. So these are actually pretty easy to make. I use calico and then some design fabrics. So this is a Nerida Hansen fabric. She is a local to me in the Geelong area. And it's beautiful fabric to work with. And I'm just sewing little pockets in so that you can put pencils in it. I've made the gaps wide enough as well to put makeup brushes in, or to put other tools. So I use one to put like some scissors and stuff in to take to markets and stuff. So I'm just making it kind of universal for different products that can go in it. But I'm making a bunch of these because obviously this was a new product that I started making, and then I gave all of my stock to the Geelong Collective's pop-up shop. So now I need some for my markets, for my upcoming kind of Christmas and summer markets. So I'm just sitting here and making a bunch of these. Alright, so I've got some orders to package up for the last little bit of my studio vlog. So I'm putting in some envelopes with some little ephemera pieces. I've also got some tags, some business cards. I've also got these little postcards with just different things of how you can actually use your journal. And I use some brown paper, tissue paper. And I'm just labeling these because I'm going to wrap them up really pretty. And I'm not entirely sure if the customer is actually giving these for Christmas presents or not, so I just wanted to label them in grey lead just so that she knew which one was which if she just wanted to leave them packaged as I sent them. So typically I'll wrap these up with some twine and some dried flowers if it's going just domestic, with a little tag. And I've cut all of the tissue paper down to size already so that it's easier to package for me. I love packaging gifts, so I always want to make it feel really, really special. You can see in the top corner there too that some of those photos are actually photos that I've taken. So there's some Christmas advertising from my shoots from last year. So I use a lot of my products for my product photos for that. I just write a thank you card on one of the postcards, and then I hate using plastic, but I tend to put my journals in Ziploc bags so that they don't get damaged or wet in transit. This box was too big, so I'm flipping it out and I'm getting a smaller one, and I'm just going to tape it up with my paper tape. This is a design that I made myself from Sticker Mule. It's really nice paper. I've not gone through much at all, but yeah. So I'm packaging these up and I'll take them to the post office tomorrow morning. So I hope you've enjoyed this studio vlog. Let me know what else you would like to see, and I will see you next time.